he's kicked it behind. Now, on the boundary line, we have Russell Morris, our intrepid reporter. We have Mark Roberts for the Kangaroos. But we also have Tony Liberatore. But he unfortunately can't hear us. He's concentrating pretty hard, Kevin, isn't he?
Yes, well, he's got the job. He's actually speaking to the Bulldogs players who are in the dugout on the interchange bench.
Fair enough.
And he is wide up to the coach's box. And when they want him to say a few words to the boys on the bench, that's his job today.
Big fly from Ellis, couldn't complete the mark. Bell puts North Melbourne into attack, kicks inside 50, terrific mark again, Carey. Second good strong mark over Croft. So maybe Ellis an early alternative.
To Peter, last week that Croft was on Scotty Lucas for Essendon, and Lucas kicked about 2 or 3 goals early and sort of cut Crofty up. He was moved up to the forward line. He looked as though he lacked a little confidence, but it does surprise me that he's been thrown onto Carey. But then again, Terry Wallace has the confidence in him to come up.
Well, Carey can take anybody apart. That's, I think, common knowledge. That's the shot that Carey has, kicking from right on 50. Needs to aim for the left goal post. He's done that. Goal umpire doesn't move. He's kicked it.
Well, we're looking at the best player for the last 4 or 5 years in the competition, Wayne Carey. Just a magnificent mark, a person who reads the ball so well. And we can see here, it's going to be difficult from the match up on Wayne Carey, because what you say, Peter, is absolutely correct. He is the best player going around, and therefore he's the hardest player to match up in the competition. He's already kicked 2, and he already is the danger man.
There's Libba. As we have established, he's doing some communications work with obviously the players down on the ground and the coach in the coach's box. West will get the Bulldogs into their attacking half. His kick across the half-forward line lands in front of Southern. McCartney able to reach and knock the ball away, and then gathers his own tap on out wide. Stevens favours his left foot, which is only natural, and kicks the ball in towards the middle of the ground. Brown, a good knock away. Back it goes towards Anderson. He can't gather the football. It was an awkward bouncing ball, and the umpire will bounce just wide of the centre circle. 2 goals to North Melbourne, 2 behinds to the Bulldogs, and 2 individual. Carey has kicked North's 2 goals, and Colin has kicked the 2 behinds for the Bulldogs.
The twos have it, Robbo. North will be content if they can maintain this. Contessa, the rookie. Kick comes up towards half forward. Chance for Montgomery. Dummies the hand pass. Onto Ellis. Ellis right on 50. Spears the pass into Southern. Couldn't complete it. Ellis comes again. Pressured by Blakey. Tries to get it out to Smith. Couldn't do so. Still Ellis. Pinned. North one holding the ball. Not according to the umpire.
Don't think we'll see too many of those today, Pete.
Not after last week.
I think there might be a little bit of heat in the kitchen.
Maybe it's a bit early. Both of those controversial decisions in the last minute of play.
Anthony Stevens coming off, and Scott coming on for North Melbourne.
Hudson, Ramiro, snap, maybe behind, could sneak in for a minor score, and according to the goal umpire, it has done. So 3 behinds to the Western Bulldogs, 2 to Steve Collinyuk, as Robbo mentioned, and a word from the coach there. That looked like the haircut of Stevens, was it? This is Brady Anderson. Anderson goes short, and that's okay. On to King, a most welcome re-inclusion into the North Melbourne side today. They decide to share it around, and speaking of re-inclusions, Anthony Rock just up from the full-back position, so plenty of possessions. They're bothering the statistician, but not really the Bulldogs.
You reckon there was 90 seconds to go, and they were about 4 points in front, wouldn't you? With about 5 possessions there from the behind kick by Ramiro. And eventually North Melbourne kick it outside their defensive 50. Martin's high ball goes back in the Carey area, and his recovery not bad. His tackle on Cameron was good. The ball locked in, and the umpire will bounce about 60 metres from the North Melbourne goal.
Some interesting matchups, Robbo. We see that Simpson's picking up Scotty West, and Scotty West has been the most dominating midfield player in the competition this year. So that's an interesting one, putting Simpson across onto Smith. And young Contessa has really only played a handful of games, picking up Shannon Grant. Geez, been a star for North.
Now, Peter, I heard the U's and R's. You thought that was a free kick. What did you think, John?
Yeah, I think it was high on this side of Jose Ramiro's head, but unfortunately Andrew Malcolm on the other side of the pack there, so wouldn't have been able to see the tackle.
What about the knee drop?
And then Anderson's tackle, looking for the free kick, holding the jumper, but the left knee was certainly in a precarious position, if you'd like to say so.
Yep.
Scotty West gets the ball wide, gathered by Blakey, well tackled by Brown. The ball spills back to Brown. He is an exciting player, Kevin. You'll see a lot of Nathan Brown over the years. The ball wide to Montgomery, well tackled by Archer. The tackling was just tremendous. It's got a lot of ferociousness about it and very much an impact tackle. This is Robert Scott, round onto his right foot, kicks in towards half forward. Jose has allowed Abraham to come in and take a good mark in front of his face. The goal kicker for the Kangaroos, Winston Abraham to the square. Getting his hands on it there is Hewitt. Now that's nearly throwing the ball, surely. Wirra, just close to the line. Well done, Carey. Allison. Croft has the football in there. How do we get rid of it? The umpire allows it to go on. Close to the line. You would think Brad Wirra would be happy to see a boundary throwing take place.
Well, the one you called as throwing the ball, I think the umpire construed it as just being dislodged by the force of the tackle, so play on was the call.
Wayne Carey really had to sit for that mark in the goal square, but Hewitt came across in front of him from that particular kick from Winston Abraham, so they've just got to be a bit careful they don't get in each other's way.
West with Bell across the ground, out of bounds on the other side. So once again, the boundary umpire will throw it back in, about 35 metres from goal on this occasion. North Melbourne bench.
We can see Scott there, who's just come back off the ground. Brent Harvey there, just wiping his eyes. Kicked 6 goals against Port Adelaide a few weeks back. He is a goal kicker, comes on and off the ground. He's a bit of a shot player, and obviously he'll get ready for the action.
Well, Bulldogs under a little bit of pressure. Ramiro gets crunched.
He had second opportunity, John.
Yeah, he's elected not to get rid of it the first time, but I think one thing we've seen this weekend is a real reluctance by the umpires to make those decisions. Here we see Romero try to get around the tackle and runs into another tackle. They are the ones that have previously been paid as holding the ball, and here we see a ball up resulting.
And interestingly, Hayden Kennedy right in the thick of things, and he's paid them before, as we know from last week. Grant, missed by Simpson. Good bump by Scholl. As Robbo said, the ferocity of the tackling here is something to behold. It's better to be on this side of the fence. AFL website, if you want to catch up with all the footy, there it is there on screen. A very popular website, so I'm told. Hayden Kennedy puts it down again. McKernan in front of Darcy. Neither ruckman having too much effect on that. Bell gets around Brown. Right foot snap. Brady Anderson has it punched away by Johnson out of bounds. 5 metres from the behind post. North Melbourne right forward pocket. 12 plays 3 at the Optus Oval. The Western Bulldogs can go to the top of the table if they win by a good margin to take over the lead from the Sydney Swans.
Holding the man paid in the, or shepherding, I think, maybe paid in the ruck contest, but certainly a free kick to the Bulldogs.
Going to Darcy. We saw Scotty Wine there. Interesting selection to warm the bench early. Gets it onto Brown, onto his left foot, which is his correct one. Hudson, well down from the forward line, marks almost at centre half-back.
Well, Paul Hudson, I think the Bulldogs will be hoping that he can get a few goals during this match. He brought them right back into the game against the Swans a couple of weeks ago in Sydney when they trailed by about 8 goals at three-quarter time. They've got a chance here, but a big thump by Mickey Martin out wide. Hudson in the van, gathers quite nicely. Left foot kick is disappointing, but it rebounds back to that player. Hand pass a little loose, gathered by Contessa. Now Scotty West, hemmed in. Oh, look at the skill. Just the footwork there was absolutely tremendous by West. And his kick, well, that's the play of the day so far by Scotty West. The ball finishing with Danny Southern. Magnificent. Kevin, you would have to appreciate the ability of a player in the circumstances like that, and the kick in short, is that going to be allowed? It's not, because play had been called on. But Scotty West.
Well, that's why he's the most improved midfield player playing this year. He had a terrific season last year as well, in fact the last couple of years, but we can see here the great skill, feigning the hand pass, able to twist and turn. He's got the presence of mind, he's got the balance, and of course he's got that beautiful left boot which finds Danny Southern, who, you know, has been a pretty important player for him. He's played a lot off the bench, comes onto the back line, comes onto the forward line, depending upon, you know, what matchups they want, and he's usually a pretty good kick too, Danny Southern. Well,
he's been a very reliable player. And I tell you what, that kick's reliable too. The Bullies have got there first. Danny Southern kicks the first goal for the Western Bulldogs, and they trail by 3 points.
They'll lift their spirits. Interesting you say, Peter, with Scotty Wine running around the boundary line. because one thing that Scotty Wine does as good as anyone in the competition is that he pushes back and builds a wall across players such as Wayne Carey. He just surprised? I am surprised because Carey started well with a couple of goals. I just wonder whether Wine was there, whether he could have got in his way.
Brady Anderson on screen, leaving the field because of the blood rule, and coming back on for the Roos is Simpson. 3 points the difference. He'll take up his position. The game will restart. Under 7 minutes left in the first quarter. North Melbourne's record against the Western Bulldogs pretty good. They've won 5 of the last 6. Darcy and McCurtain. Montgomery, quick hand pass. Ramiro to half forward, Grant and Martin. Grant, oh, that's a mark. Terrific stuff. What a difference he makes to their forward line. Suspended for 2 weeks, a controversial decision. And Grant will have his first shot at goal.
Peter, Ramiro has had 6 touches.
What a big mark.
Well, he's in for a torrid afternoon because Mick Martin will be very physical with him all day. He's already had a free kick given to him at the opening bounce, but he'll make life tough for Chris Grant. But that was a brilliant mark in front.
From 49 metres, Grant's kick splits the uprights, straight through. Bulldogs in front.
Very strong midfield, the Bulldogs have been in good form from Scotty West, and we mentioned then Jose Ramiro with the number of possessions he's had already. It's interesting, Robbo, that as soon as the Bulldogs win the ball, anywhere around midfield, players stream down inside 50. They run really hard. Even players who have been across the half-forward line, and they find themselves up around the centre of the ground, run hard to space. This will test the North Melbourne defence.
Well, the Bulldogs, North Melbourne off to a good start. The first 2 goals kicked by Wayne Carey. But the Bulldogs have hit back. Goals through Chris Grant and Danny Southern see them in front of the scoreboard. And Luke Darcy, be careful.
I think we might see...
What did you think, John? Would you have...
Well, I mean, I think if you pay the free kick to Mickey Martin at the first bounce when he wasn't knocked over, then when a player's thrown to the ground by the jumper, you'd reckon if he hasn't got the footy, you give him a free kick as well.
And especially early, do you try to set a scene with the players like that?
Well, yeah, it's not so much getting control of the game, but if a player's thrown to the ground without the footy, it's just bread and butter stuff. You've got to pay it.
He was the antagonist, Luke Darcy, and eventually he was the player to get the ball away from the centre circle to Alice, and now the umpire obviously had called time on.
Yeah, no, I think what's happened is that the player can't run through the mark to take the handball.
Well, he still gave it to Brown, and Brown's kick towards full forward, knocked away from Southern by McCartney close to the line. Pickett takes it over.
Yeah, sorry, Robbo, in that case, if Brown runs between the player with the ball and the man on the mark, he can't take a handball. He's got to run behind him.
Fair enough.
Gets a bit technical, but that's the explanation.
Well, the boundary throw in and McKernan slipping, so Darcy getting a very effective right hand to it. Rock quickly back. Grant is marked for the North Melbourne side. He is at not quite up to left half back, Shannon Grant. He'll transfer play to the other side out in front of the old Hawthorn stand here at the Optus Oval. The play now at right half back. It's David King, a high kick out towards the wing where the Bulldogs will outnumber. Scholl to gather, taken to the ground, but the ball is over for a boundary throw.
Well, just another example, Robbo, of the hard running of the Bulldogs players, where Ellis came from the half-back line and ran all the way down to the centre wing. Archer now has been moved from the half-back line after picking up Montgomery. He's now on the half-forward flank being picked up by Ellis.
Good tackle by King. Grant on a Pickett at midfield, right from the circle. Welsh just onto the ground, tackled brilliantly by Cameron. The umpire, Hayden Kennedy, says it's a stalemate, my ball, gentlemen. Just inside 50, North Melbourne's right half forward flank. As the clock ticks down to quarter time, 4.5 minutes remaining. Here it is.
And no opportunity prior to the tackle being laid, so a ball up, the correct decision.
Shot at goal, a snap by Archer. Won't quite make the distance. The bounce, was it touched? West, ridden into the ground by Stevens. A throw in, North Melbourne's left forward pocket. 3 points the difference in favour of the Bulldogs after North Melbourne got the first 2 goals through Carey. And they have a chance to get another, the Roos. Darcy in front, Carey behind, goes to West. onto Croft. Croft to Wirra. Wirra in the right back pocket. Kick doesn't travel too much distance. Archer snaps it up. He was off. No, he wasn't, according to the umpire.
Poor kick by Wirra.
It was, oh, crunch. Adam Contessa felt that one from McKernan. Oh, felt it here. So Corey McKernan to have a shot at goal. Let's watch that again from a different angle. Oh, he's nuggety. He'd need to be. Ooh. So Corey McKernan with his first goal as Wirra comes off. I think we can work out why. That's a goal. North Melbourne back in front. McKernan's first.
Well, they've kicked 3 goals, and those 3 goals have come from their key forwards. They're 2 big guns in McKernan now with his first goal and 2 to Wayne Carey. So we can see a bit of a pattern on the North Melbourne forward line where their tall players look to be the key if North Melbourne are to win this game. On the other hand, I think it's the Bulldogs' running game that might worry North Melbourne. I'm not quite certain whether North Melbourne is the slickest side in the competition. Looked slow against Adelaide for much of the game last week. So it'll be a test today against the fast-running Bulldogs.
Kevin, what does Terry Wallace say to Brad Wirra? He came straight off the ground after delivering the ball directly to the opposition.
Well, look, he'll be just reminding him that, you know, mistakes in defence are very, very costly. I would think he'd come back onto the ground. He's been picking up Allison, who hasn't had an impact in this first quarter. So I would think he'd come back on.
Well, North Melbourne are going to go in for the opportunity to get their 4th goal. And Scott straightened up, but just in the finish, just didn't quite kick the ball far enough. The mark taken right on the goal line by Todd Curley, who has just come onto the ground at the expense of Wirra. His kick is wide, well marked by Brown. Just think this young fella is the excitement machine of 1998.
Saw him a couple of times this year earlier, Robbo. He gets a lot of kicks. His kicking perhaps sometimes lets him down.
Well, that's what's happened there. But I guess he's trying to show a bit of enterprise to move the ball out of their full back line. Grant tackle. Still there with the football is Shannon Grant, but the umpire decides on a bounce.
It's interesting, Robbo, there's been a lot of talk this week about the skills of players today and skills of yesterday. You would think that with all the training and the professionalism of AFL football, that you'd be able to hit a target or make a good decision on whether you're kicking short to a contest. But still, that's a problem, isn't it?
Well, it's a pressure cooker atmosphere, isn't it?
Still got to operate under pressure.
They've got to make decisions quickly, and I guess that's what's happened over the years. I mean, if you watch footage of football even from 10 years ago, Kevin, that they do move this football very, very quickly these days, and those boys have got to make split-second decisions. Stevens' kick, that might have gone out on the full, only by centimetres. Bad luck there for Anthony Stevens, but it is a free kick. And the fashion played out there, the boundary umpire with the sunglasses, Johnny. He looks pretty good, doesn't he?
Very, very smooth.
And that kick goes close to the line again, and it's forced over for another throw-in. 18 North Melbourne, 15 Western Bulldogs, and the captain for North Melbourne, Wayne Carey, has kicked 2 goals, and we've got less than 2 minutes left in the first term.
Boundary throw in. Oh, Smith right through his legs. Blakey serves it up for Rock. Shepherd by Carey. Oh, coat hang it. No need to comment on that one, Jack.
Very indiscriminate, wasn't it?
Look out, the mark. I'd say Anthony Rock only needs a metre or 2 advantage here, and he nearly kicked this.
Cross breeze today at Optus Oval, a northerly, not too strong. Anthony Rock for right on 50. It's going to be close. Oh, guess who's got a terrific grab right on the goal square virtually.
We might see a 52. Hayden Kennedy got in there very quickly because it seemed as though Carey was actually jumped on as he went to the ground. But no, the markers stand where it was. So it'll be a very acute angle.
Carey's 3rd goal coming up if he's accurate.
Tell you what, in a pack of 5 players, that's a strong performance, isn't it?
Well, he had the run at the back of the pack, and I mentioned earlier where Evan Hewitt got across in front of him probably about 6-7 minutes ago, where it looked like he was set to take a mark again. So they've got to work it out between them.
Carey kicks his 3rd for the quarter.
Well, we did speak about maybe Wayne Carey playing centre-half back, playing on Chris Grant. We could even see later on in this game that Chris Grant might have to go to centre-half back to play on Wayne Carey.
Well, Carey started at centre-half back in a lot of North Melbourne's games this year, hasn't he? So those that suggested he should be on the forward line early have got their wish and 3 goals.
I think it's been a good move today, putting him up there, because he's been in terrific form in recent weeks.
Yes, folks, we're being treated to AFL football, vintage style. Wayne Carey, there's Scotty Wine warming the bench, and Rowan Smith, who can't get into this game in this first quarter. Darcy beautifully down to Ramiro. Ramiro's kick. The ball bounces awkwardly across half forward. Back goes Archer, skillfully traps the footy and then kicks it out wide in front of Peter Bell. It bounces and bounces over. Bell appealing to Archer, maybe, perhaps Glenn Archer, just intent on clearing the danger zone, and the ball is to be thrown in about 85 metres around from the Western Bulldogs goal. And Brad Wirra, you've obviously served your penance, preparing maybe to come back onto the ground. It's very close to quarter time, and we might see the 18 stay as they are until the siren sounds. Gee, that ball, this is Grant, lovely finisher, Shannon Grant, throws it onto his left boot, kicks it to full forward, and the siren, just when North were going forward, looking very dangerous, the siren halts proceedings. The first quarter, North Melbourne have kicked 4 goals straight. The Bulldogs have kicked 2-3, so it is an advantage for the Kangaroos. 9 points, and Carey with 3 goals, McKernan with 1 for North Melbourne, and for the Bulldogs, Chris Grant, their champion forward, has kicked 1, and Danny Southern is the other goal kicker for Footscray.
The Western Bulldogs,
whatever.
Two Bob in the slot. Thank you, Robbo. So both coaches come down to the ground now. Dennis Pagan did a one-off last week. He said when he was mic'd at quarter time, didn't use any bad language. He was very direct in his approach to the players, as he will be here at quarter time. The difference is 9 points at the Optus Oval in favour of the Roos over the Bulldogs. Start of the second quarter at Optus Oval. Brett Allison and Scholl having a turn on the bench for the Roos. North Melbourne leading by 9 points as we begin the quarter. Bright sunshine now with that northerly blowing across the ground. Bell has it kicked away by Johnson. Kolonyuk to Hudson. Tries to get it to Darcy. Anderson. Kretiuk should get there first. Which way will it bounce? Not too kindly for him. Rock in hot pursuit. Around Carey. Nearly around Carey. Rock. Croft. Had his covers lowered in the first quarter. West. 7 kicks on the opening turn. Ramiro. Now Cameron. Bulldogs defence under pressure early. Johnson stepped in front of his opposite number 6, Shannon Grant, to take the mark. Long bomb to half forward. Blakey gets it away. McCartney back to Blakey. Across the ground, over the head of Mick Martin. The ball stops. Just can't control it. It's out of bounds.
Gee, for the possessions that the Bulldogs had then, Kevin, in the last few minutes, you'd reckon that they could have at least had maybe 1 shot at goal.
Well, I noticed they had the ball 13 times inside 50 to North Melbourne's 9 in the first quarter, so they haven't been able to get the ball in there on more occasions, but of course it's not showing up on the scoreboard yet.
King. Grubber. Maybe intended, but too many other options for him, and it beats Darcy and also Anthony Stevens over the line for a throw. Boundary umpire with his sunglasses. Seen everything.
No kidding, isn't he?
Stevens. Kretiuk. Good mark over the top of Rock at midfield.
Well, he's been an unbelievable player, Steve Kretiuk. He's been given some big jobs over the last few weeks in the Bulldogs' big matches, and he's an integral part. Todd Curley's kick in towards full forward. Good mark. Excellent mark to Southern in front of his opponent, who may be McCartney.
I maybe should explain, fellas, the boundary umpire is Chris McDonald, and he has actually got something wrong with his eyes. He's been told he has to wear glasses whenever he's in daylight.
Is that why he's not a field umpire?
He's going to say, don't tell the football world that, John.
No, keep it quiet.
No, he's got...
they reckon they're blind anyway, John.
They've been telling me for years.
He's got a sensitivity to light, hasn't he?
That is right.
Sensitivity to light.
All right, fair enough.
No.
OK, well,
we'll
apologise on this occasion, Chris, but we'll watch Danny Southern shoot for goal. Bulldogs trail by 9. Bulldogs trail by only 3 now. 2 goals to Danny Southern, and he really is a live wire on the forward line for the Western Bulldogs.
And of course, they've tried a number of players down at full forward this year, with James Cook there for a few weeks, and he's had some injuries and suspension, and Simon Minton-Connell has also had a crack at it. But Danny Southern's got the job today, being picked up by McCartney. He's booted a couple of goals, so they're looking for that person who can kick goals on a regular basis.
Danny Southern kicking his second, the difference back to 3 points. Early part of the second quarter at Optus Oval. Down by Hewitt. Chance for the Bullies again. Contessa. Terrible kick. Darcy does better. Bends it round. Southern again. Oh, McCartney dropped back into the hole to stop that one. That was well played. Archer to Blakey. The experience of the North defence telling on that occasion. Chris Grant stands the mark. So Blakey goes back looking for options. Pretty statuesque up in the direction where he's kicking. That was Carey in the end. Johnson from Ramiro. Wobbly kick off the boot. Terrible one to try to mark. Montgomery flips it out. Hudson, who's been busy across half forward. Southern gets a terrible bounce. And McCartney clears. Bombs it up towards centre wing. Takes a right-hand turn and goes straight over the line for a throw it in front of our commentary box. North Melbourne leading by 3 points.
Peter, the difference between the skill level between North Melbourne and the Bulldogs, just have a look at the disposal into the Bulldogs forward line. We saw when they hit Danny Southern on the chest, they got a goal, but Johnson's kick was wayward and it just didn't give the forwards a chance whatsoever.
Garlick hemmed in. Ball from Darcy to West. West, gee, they just jumped on top of him, didn't they, the North Melbourne boys there. He was absolutely smothered.
Haven't been able to shut him down yet, Scotty West. He's been picked up by Anthony Stevens, but he's had 9 possessions so far in the game. And he's a vital player. They've got to shut down Scotty West if, in fact, you know, if they want a better chance of winning the game, because he's so important to the midfield of the Bulldogs.
No doubt, he gets a fair bit of it. Hewitt was able to get his left hand to it, but still the football tucked underneath there of West. So the umpire will bounce. It's on centre wing. North Melbourne lead. They've kicked 4 goals straight. The Bulldogs 3-3. And again, if you want to catch up on the official AFL website, that's all the information there at the bottom of the screen. So play restarted. Hewitt again, a big right fist. Abraham, his kick will be chopped off by Curley. Curley straight down the ground and does kick nicely. There's a kick down the ground. No, the umpire just telling the players to be careful. Grant's handball, they hit its target, and in goes Brad Johnson and misses.
Yeah, that's a wasted opportunity. Russell Morris just mentioned about the Bulldogs wasting the ball. They're only playing 3 men in their forward line. Most of their players are up the ground. But what they do very well is that when they kick the ball in, they run very hard to get inside 50. And again, they keep feeding the ball off. Very unselfish side, the Bulldogs. Just can't finish it off with some good kicking.
Curley coming up the worst for wear after that bump he got. Darcy punches it 20 metres downfield. Brown, Collinyuk looks for the hand pass. Contessa tries to draw a man. Eventually gets his kick in, but misses the major part of the prize and kicks only one behind. The youngster, Adam Contessa, played 46 reserves game actually with North Melbourne. 3 for Sydney, 3 for St Kilda, reserves best and fairest last year. Now Curley coming off with maybe a bit of a corky. Russell Morris will have some news on that for us shortly. That's a mark. Big Darcy.
Very much improved player over the last year or so.
Doing the ruck work today. Wind still on the bench. Oh, he's taken another one. Montgomery. He may already have mark of the year parcelled up. This one not quite as spectacular, KB, but what a beauty.
Well, he's one of those medium-sized players who can take a big grab, and they're always dangerous on the forward line. He had to sit here with McCartney backing back and also Danny Southern, so he had to go, but he has got very good hands, and obviously he can jump.
Just a quick one, Peter, on Todd Curley. It's his right knee. The doctor's actually doing a bit of prodding and probing on it at the moment, so we'll just wait and see, and I'll update you when I have more information.
Okay, thanks, Fly. I thought it might have been a corky or something, the way he landed, but let's just hope that it's fairly minor.
Well, he's only kicked the 1 goal for the season.
Montgomery, 30 metres out directly in front. He's now got 2. We expected a top game. It's turned out that way. The Bulldogs leading by 5 points.
And even though their kicking hasn't been really good, we've made mention of the fact that they've been off target a bit with their disposals. If you're a coach and you're winning the ball well and players are running hard and creating all the time, you keep saying to yourself in the coach's box, sooner or later it'll work for us. It's better to be getting it than not getting it.
Well, the second quarter is only about 5 minutes old, and already the Bulldogs 16 kicks to 9, 16 handballs to 4, 6 marks to 1, 7 times inside 50 in 6 minutes of this term. North Melbourne yet to approach that area, and the Bulldogs will go inside again. Only just. Blakey is going to get run down. Well done, Montgomery. Ball's pulls for Johnson. Johnson's handball.
The free kick will go back.
What for, legging?
No, incorrect disposal was the free kick paid, Robbo.
Well,
So
Montgomery.
prior opportunity, didn't dispose of it by kicking or handballing it once he was tackled.
Montgomery has the free kick. The player on the mark is on the forward end of the centre square. He goes short. He's a little closer. Collinute. This will test Steve Collinute. Long kick. Offline to the right. Third behind to that player.
Robbo, just some more news on the sideline with Scott Welsh, the young kid from North Melbourne that was up the forward. He's just hurt his left hand. Not too sure. They're just checking the bone structure in his hand at the moment, so it could be a break.
Oh, gee, that's bad luck. Jimmy Stein just back today from a similar thing, I guess. 10 effective scoring shots to 4. McKernan. Could have been a little bit better. Ellis, intent on chopping this off, does so. Beautifully done to West. They share it around. Ramiro from right centre wing for the Bulldogs. Downfield,
Free kick will be paid at centre half forward to Grant for an infringement after disposal. So a very costly one. And of all the blokes to be lining up for the kick, I'm sure the North Melbourne team would prefer it not be Chris Grant.
Well, you know he'll get the distance.
Peter, a scoring pattern. North kicked the first 2. Bulldogs the following 2. North kicked the next 2. Western Bulldogs the next 2. So it's been 2 to each team. Not necessarily consecutively, but Grant will break that pattern.
He kicks it.
Kicking their third goal, their third consecutive.
Chris Grant on figures gets his second, joining Danny Southern, who's also kicked 2. Brett Montgomery has got 1. Carey has 3 for North Melbourne, all in the first quarter.
And the Bulldogs have booted 3 goals this quarter. North Melbourne goalless, which is very similar to last week when they started so well. North Melbourne led by about well over 30 points against Adelaide, and then for the next 2 quarters really struggled.
Gee, don't you look good when you're controlling the football? The Western Bulldogs have just dominated the early part of this second term, and they're going to get away from the centre bounce again. West was one of the productive players in that little sequence. Darcy's kick marked by Grant. Now, you'd have to say Chris Grant, if he wants to go back and just have a dead set shot at this, would be a real chance to kick the distance.
Well, he's a beautiful kick.
He's gone back 35 metres.
The distance shouldn't be a concern to him.
Well, there'll be a big roar from the Bulldogs fans if he can kick his third goal, and the team's 6th. Just gets under it a little bit. It does get the distance, so perhaps the breeze is favouring that left-hand end of screen. Grant kicks it behind. It's his first, and straight away the trainer out to attend to the champion Bulldog forward. 5-7, 12 shots at goal to 4. North Melbourne yet to register a score in this second term. Out wide, nearly the mark to Pretiuk, but the Kangaroos will get clear. McKernan, his kick is awkward. Bounces right on 50. Is that a mark? No. Thought that may have hit the ground, and I think that's the umpire's going to bounce it. Abraham not happy, but the umpire was very much on the scene. It looked as though when Abraham went to the ground with the football, it may have just flipped out and touched the turf. 50 metres from the North Melbourne goal. Still to score in this second term, the Kangaroos. McKernan to do the ruck work. Beaten for it on this occasion by Darcy. Abraham can't control it. Croft, little hand pass. West just got a foot to it as he went to gather. Out wide. Rock in turn to Grant. Grant's right foot kick, not bad actually, covered about 40 metres. Puts the Bulldogs defence under pressure. Ellis to the boundary line safely.
Yes.
And it'll be thrown in.
Have a look at the time clock, Robbo. Just approaching 13 minutes in this quarter, and that's the first time North Melbourne's been inside 50.
Well, certainly the ball around the middle of the ground, controlled by the Bulldogs. Darcy to contest. Umpire's found a free kick. No, he's going to ask him to do it again, is he?
Yeah, he's asking the boundary umpire to throw the ball in again. It's the second time I've seen that in 2 weeks, Robbo, and normally something very unusual, and certainly doesn't get any brownie points for the field umpire.
Does a lot of confidence for the boundary umpire.
Yeah, I just wonder whether the boundary umpires are going to start to run in and tell the fieldies to bounce it again.
Well, that looked as though it was a pretty good boundary throw-in. Still with the Bulldogs. Darcy's kick smothered. Crediuk, short. Just an attempted hack out of there by Carey. Bell's kick to half forward. Gather here by Scholl. Handball away. King will go in and get a goal, surely. David King straightens up and gets the 5th goal for the Kangaroos. No, he doesn't. He kicks it behind. David King from about 35 metres, just missing. So the first behind to North Melbourne. 5-7 the Bulldogs, 4-1 North.
I'm glad you were calling then, because I thought it was a goal too.
Like to have another look at it. But anyway, goal umpires made the decision. Cameron to kick in.
Leon Cameron, 93 best and fairest at the then Footscray Football Club. Brad Wirra has already been benched today for poor kicking out of defence. At least that's what we thought it was. Looking for West. Punch by Stevens, who's got the job on the crack Western Bulldogs on-baller. 37 plays 25. Midway through the second quarter. Bulldogs certainly with many more opportunities. 12 effective scoring shots to 5. McCurtain and Darcy, one by the latter. A little flip on. Stevens to Blakey. Archer. North Melbourne trying to set something up through Bell. Bell goes up towards half forward. Clean bowls McCurtain. Croft. As I said earlier, his colours lowered in the first quarter. This guy didn't. Ramiro, 7 kicks in the opening term. Ramiro kicks out to Contessa. Adam Contessa trying to get it moving quickly. Does so effectively. Hudson, who's been busy across half forward. Disposal to Smith could have been a little bit better. Outnumbered there through the legs of Martin. No, he took Shannon Grant out of the action. On to Carey. Still with Croft, but at half back.
It's come all the way down from centre half forward, Peter.
Ellis and Hewitt. Ellis grabbed, didn't have the footy. Throw it in, says the umpire. As they continue, a little bit of a tate-a-tate. Ooh.
Looks like young Harvey's going off with an arm injury as well, so Russell Morris will be able to update us on that with Allison coming back on. But it's just all hard work for North Melbourne at the moment. No real flow, can't get the ball quickly into their forward line.
Well, just on that decision, KB, that was just on screen, I think even though the ball was dead, free kicks like that have to be paid regardless of whether the ball is dead or not. And I think that should have been paid for holding the man.
Darcy, who's rucked brilliantly so far today, on to Leon Cameron, who always gets a lot of kicks. Back to Ellis. Much improved player over the last couple of seasons, but he won't be happy with that, kicking it straight to McCurtain.
Well, I think that's a bit of a travesty there when you get the ball and just give it straight up. Darcy forced to kick with his right foot, high, no mark, so the ball spills for the Crummers. On this occasion, it's Mickey Martin. His scrambly old kick back towards the middle of the ground. Bell off to Stevens. Stevens turns with the left foot, kicks it straight towards goal. North Melbourne, the opportunity here right in front of their goal. Gathered by Dent. Oh, be careful. Great tackle by Rock on Cameron. And I think the Bullies had breathed a sigh of relief there. Croft takes it through for a behind to North Melbourne.
Perhaps they should have done that earlier, KB. Maybe there.
Well, it's Dent, of course, was going the wrong way when he actually handballed that and tried to get it back to Cameron, but it was a bit short, put him under pressure.
Martin, good kick by that player. He took the kick in and then very skillfully got the ball to Ramiro. Ramiro between left half back and left centre wing. Swings onto his right foot and then kicks in towards the middle of the ground. Grant up high, couldn't take the chest mark. Scott and Nathan Brown, gathered by Shannon Grant. Hand pass smothered by Garlick, gathered by Pickett. Pickett's kick to centre half forward. Dent and Scholl. Bulldogs at ground level, looked in the prime position, but gathered by Scholl. Scholl's kick across his left shoulder to the goal front. Abraham and Crediuk. In goes Allison. Handball goes back to Bell. Bell, left foot snap. And another rush behind to North Melbourne. Now, what's happening? The all clear has been given, surely, hasn't it?
Well, either it wasn't or it wasn't seen, Robbo, because the goal umpire certainly asked for it again.
Well, there could be nothing more than a rush behind there. Peter Bell's kick was disciplined to the front of the goals, and Anthony Rock not able to gather. The kick-in has been taken by Crediuk. 5-7 the Bulldogs, 4-3 North Melbourne. North Melbourne have kicked just 3 behinds in this second term.
Crediuk to Ellis. Kicks to half forward, trying for Grant. Martin wearing him like a glove. Well done, Mick. Tries to get the hand pass away. Effective to Shannon Grant. Marking contest. Johnson tried for the specky over Scott. Couldn't complete it. Brown. Canada to Bray. Anderson. Ball flipped out the front, making it a foot race. Contessa, or is it Martin? It's out of bounds. Martin just onto the ground, so we've got 2 Michael Martins out there. Different spelling on the surname, and one's a tad quicker than the other. One's a lot tougher than the other.
Well, I think the bald-headed Michael Martin would be crook on you saying that.
Now, that's an interesting one. Bulldog fans looking for a holding decision.
Well, ball clearly pinned to him because his arms were up in the air, yet the ball was still at his tummy. So, not much doubt the ball was pinned to him.
Stevens, the culprit. Hudson does the ruck work. Now, there's a free kick here. It's going North Melbourne's way. Not sure who's going to take it. It's going to be Hewitt. Played every game this year. 10 points the difference in favour of the Bulldogs. After North jumped them early when Carey kicked 3 goals in the first quarter. Here he is again, outmarked on this occasion by Ellis. On to Cameron. Who mops up again. Kicks to West. Thought about going on with it to Croft. Does so. Good shepherd by Smith. Back to West. Scotty West, yes, just inside the boundary line to the running Johnson. Gee, kept that in play cleverly. He was nearly over the line. In fact, he was, but the ball wasn't. Hudson, they need a good shepherd. He turns right into King. And throw it in, says the umpire.
And play on the correct call then, because the tackle by King forced the ball out of Hudson's hands and it went over the boundary line.
So a bad decision by young Johnson, though. He had the ball and he just couldn't make the correct decision and put him under a lot of pressure. Hudson had no chance whatsoever.
Kick by Darcy, nearly intercepted by McKernan. Southern looking for a free kick. Contessa off the ground. King can't control it. Now he can. Quick kick. Romero marks. No one standing the mark. Jose has a shot. Hudson on the line. Or was he over?
No,
it's a mark. On, you would suggest, a near impossible angle. He runs around, kicks, and just like his dad, he's goal.
Just like his dad, he's got about how many more goals to kick before he catches his father, Kevin?
Probably about
few,
500. But he's had a very good season, Paul Hudson. He's kicked 16 goals for the year, and he is a very dangerous player. And we saw him do the ruck work out on the centre wing position. Then he's taking a handball in the forward pocket, being caught, then a mark. So he's covering a lot of territory.
Well, a player with just immense ability, Paul Hudson. He went through a bit of a quiet patch towards the latter years at Hawthorn, and now he looks as though his confidence is at a very good level. What happened there, John?
Incorrect disposal paid, so the free kick will be taken by Jose Romero.
Robbo,
yes, Russell.
Robbo, it's a good point you made, because I think he came 3rd in the Brownlow medal about 3 or 4 years ago. Then they gave him Michael Tuck's number of 17. And I think he's starting to believe the publicity. And then the move to the Bulldogs has been sensational for him. He's got a harder player, a tougher player, as Garlick takes a mark on the forward line. But Hudson has been very, very good for the side.
Colin Newt tried to be a little too cute there. Rock, beautiful gather by King. He was under a certain amount of pressure across the half-back line. To McCartney. From one step, McCartney's kick is marked by Dent. Dent quickly on, so The Bulldogs not wasting any time. Brown into the centre. This bloke was just dominating. Ramiro to full forward. No, poor kick, Jose, on that occasion. Easy to be critical from here, but he whacked his thigh in disappointment with his effort, and he put it on the chest of Martin. Martin to Grant. Grant in the centre of the ground. Evades one player. That was the other Michael Martin, of course, for Footscray. And then the kick to half forward has been marked by Allison. 43 plays 27. A 16-point advantage at the moment with the Western Bulldogs, and North Melbourne's last goal, of course, their fourth, late in the first quarter. There's been a lot of time between that goal and maybe this one, if Brett Allison can kick the distance, basically. Low trajectory. Oh, it's a goal. It's a goal to Allison. Well done. A very good kick there by Brett Allison. Low trajectory and had the required accuracy for North Melbourne's fifth goal.
Well, he's always been a good goal kicker, Allison. 3 games ago, played his 200th game after missing the opening part of the season. But he's the sort of player who is so dangerous. He's kicked a lot of important goals for North Melbourne. And under pressure, that was a very important goal in the context of this game.
.203rd game from Brett Allison, his first goal today, making the difference now just 10 points in favour of the Western Bulldogs. North Melbourne's first for the quarter. Kicked by Shannon Grant. Up to Cameron, one hand to it, couldn't control it. West applying the tackle. Stevens off a step, couldn't clear. Gets a second chance. Boots it out towards the right forward pocket. It's a foot race. Ellis looks for a teammate running past, and Kodiuk finds him. Ramiro's been brilliant. Ramiro kicks towards centre wing, trying for West. Good knock away by McCartney. Free kick Bulldogs.
Yeah, there was a little bit of contact by Anthony Stevens on Scotty West from the front, so in the marking contest that will be paid.
Brown to Dent. Dent across the ground over the head of Martin. Might bounce okay for Croft. A little push onto Martin. I mentioned he's quick, but he can't get the footy. Archer pressuring him, wearing him like a glove, takes it over the line.
It's been a good effort by North Melbourne the last 10 minutes. They were pretty ordinary in the first part of this quarter, but they've just been very dogged and trying to get themselves back into the game and forcing the ball into the forward line.
Dennis Pagan will be able to sell advertising on his shoes if he keeps sitting like that. Simpson goes down. Anderson applies a tackle. Johnson gets around his opponent. Smith. Kodiuk would love to kick a goal. Hasn't so far today. Didn't go for the goals there. King and Hudson. Hudson snaps. Misses. One behind.
Peter, I think also credit should go to Matthew Croft, because, you know, Wayne Carey turned him inside out in that first quarter, kicking 3 goals, and he's held him quite well. Carey hasn't been able to get away, but also he's been very smart. He's running Carey down to the Bulldogs forward line, keeping Carey away from that dangerous area.
It's good point, Fly. And King to kick in. Back into the Roos side today and getting plenty of the footy. Now, gee, that's we've seen a couple of those in the last couple of weeks. Illegal on other players. Term charges. Stevens. Oh, a good knock away by Wirra. Grant, if he can pick it up. Tackled by Allison. Grant nearly out of bounds. Allison looking for a free kick. There is none there.
It's interesting to see Grant down there. Still followed down by Mick Martin. So whether Terry Wallace has asked him to go down there in the last few moments of this quarter just to sort of stabilise things, because North Melbourne have been coming at the Bulldogs in the last 10 minutes.
Martin there nearly getting a kick towards goal, and the ball just evading Craig Scholl, and will be thrown in the left forward pocket for the Kangaroos. Not a bad crowd here at the Optus Oval on a quite a nice day for footy. Ramiro has been sensational. So is this guy, West. To Ellis, back to West. Screaming down the ground. You've got to make something out of this. Rowan Smith just having... No, it's actually Hudson. I was going to say Rowan Smith just can't get into this game. There he is there trying to force the ball forward. But it's Stevens on the end of it. And the rebound footy now may favour the Kangaroos. Rock kicks it high. So a contest at half forward, Dent in front, handball to Ellis. He's played a pretty good quarter. Craig Ellis then kicks in the area of Garlick. Good interception by Rock. Ball spills for Blakey, and he's quite happy to see it over.
In fact, that was a great interception by Anthony Rock then. Easily you can give away a free kick there, John, but he just very cleverly got his hand in between the arms of Simon Garlick.
It was very well done, because it's easy to run into the front of the opponent and give away the free, but he made contact with the footy instead.
Big punch by McKernan, gathered by Brown. Bounce at the feet there of Pickett. He can't really do much with it. Just slipping as he went over the line. It's not quite up to the 50-metre attacking area for the Western Bulldogs. We'll have another look here at Paul Hudson. His recovery not bad, but
should have taken the mark.
Yes, fair enough. Well done by Craig Scholl. Handball away to Stevens. Stevens, left foot kick to half forward. Bounces end on end in front of Wirra. Wirra then fists the ball towards the line. The race between Abraham and Wirra. Allison in there too. First Abraham, second Allison, third Wirra. Boundary throw in 50 metres from goal.
Can you give me the totes, Robbo?
No.
Leon Cameron's done a very good job on Winston Abraham. He's only had the 2 kicks. He's such a dangerous player. Paul Hudson going from the field. I think Terry Wallace was disappointed also that he did drop that mark.
Stevens, speaking of mark, no one was on it, so he went off. Punch away by Dent, clears the zone. Ramiro, Southern, intended for West. Good block by McCartney. Simpson can't control it either. Welsh is in there, so too is Ramiro.
Just one too many handball then by the Western Bulldogs, wasn't it, when they were coming away?
It was a sloppy handball, though, from Danny Southern to Scott West. I mean, he should have hit him.
Approaching the last half-minute of the half. McCartney against Darcy. Straight to Southern. Still Southern. If he can clear Simpson, he can. Martin with Abraham. Martin quickly. Little look-away hand pass to Cameron. To Brown. Collard. Pretiuk takes the flip on. Again Brown. Pretiuk again. Clock ticking down. That's out of bounds on the full. North Melbourne free kick, but it won't be taken. It's half-time here at Optus Oval. Crackerjack first half. A little bit of disappointment there as they had control of the football but gave it up, but the siren ended it anyway. And at the main change, it's the Western Bulldogs, the home side, leading by 11 points. 6-8-44 to 5-3-33. A few deep breaths out there.
I thought that passage of play just at the end of that quarter epitomised North Melbourne's last half of the second quarter. Bulldogs under a lot of pressure, some great tackling, forcing the Bulldogs into hanging onto the ball, trying to set something up, trying to be playmakers, so to speak, and North Melbourne's persistence, as we saw then, put the ball over the line on the full, but the siren had sounded. So from that point of view, North Melbourne very good in the second.
There's a blue on the 50-metre line. The players have come together.
You can see here, yep,
as they're going off the ground, and hopefully this won't get ugly, because unfortunately there's no little bag of leather to chase around and distract their attention.
Now, Mickey Martin has lifted his jumper and shown the umpire something as suggesting that maybe there was something untoward happened there.
Is that a memo?
Well, I don't know what we'll define it as, Pete, but let's just say it's ugly, and we'd prefer it not to happen in AFL footy, but unfortunately both players have to go off in the same direction from this ground, and when they come together and the game is played out as tightly as this one has been, then tempers can get a little bit frayed.
Well, it just sort of happened so quickly, didn't it? But full marks to the umpires here, John, because they were there on the scene quickly, and what looked like could have been an ugly incident was quickly under control.
Yep.
I think we'll hear more about that one.
Bit of tribal warfare here, Peter. Their neighbouring suburbs, the old bullies and the old shit boners.
Not as bad as Windy Hill back in 1974, but it did get a little bit ugly there.
I doubt it.
We'll take a break. Back in just a moment. 11 points the margin as we begin the second half at Optus Oval. Western Bulldogs leading 6-8 to 5-3. Darcy in the ruck. Abraham couldn't control it. Harvey back to Abraham, onto Pickett, over the head of Alice. Long bomb into the forward pocket. Archer has the set and the mark. And I'm so surprised, KB. Wine still on the bench.
Look, that is a surprise. He is captain of the club. One would have thought he would have at least tasted some of the action so far. Darcy's done some nice things as well in the game so far, but when you are the captain, you do like to get out there amongst them.
Glenn Archer to make the difference. Less than a kick if he can put this one through. Kick number 6 for the day.
He's been quiet, but it's a good start to the second half by this player.
Started on the half-back flank and then went up forward.
Mr. Versatile at Arden Street. He kicks and he goals. Great start the Roos in the second half.
There's a quick change because Paul Hudson is running off the ground, and Mick Martin is coming on for the Bulldogs. So there's a quick change already. But he's a dangerous player, Archer. Abraham there hasn't had much of the ball. Pickett has battled hard. But this is the sort of strength that we've come to learn from Glenn Archer in front. And when you can convert, that's a great start for the third term by the Kangaroos.
Well, Kevin, the Bulldogs had 5 centre clearances to 1 in the second term. And already the centre clearance by the Kangaroos results in their 6th goal, kicked by Glenn Archer. Scotty West finds Chris Grant wide of the centre, swings around onto his left foot and then kicks into the pocket. Just at the feet there of Rowan Smith. By gee, if he starts to get a bit of the football, beware the Kangaroo.
Robbo, just a quick question.
At the front there of McCartney, and it's a boundary throw. And yes, Russell.
Well, I'm just wondering what Terry Wallace may be doing just with leaving Scotty Wine on the bench. An option for the Bulldogs could be to put Darcy up into the forward line, bring Wine into the ruck, and then put additional pressure on the North Melbourne defence. What are your thoughts?
Well, we just discussed it. It is quite surprising that Scotty Wine has been on the bench. And we've even started the second half. He's still there. So obviously must be a plan. I mean, it's got to be that Luke Darcy can jump, has the leap, and Scotty Wine may be just there in case they're in strife towards the end of the game.
Well, I did hear Terry Wallace say last week, I think it was, that they just utilise their players when they see fit. And at the moment, obviously, he hasn't seen a role for him.
McKernan. Bell. Blakey. Off half a step. West may get there first. Allison beats him to it and takes it out of bounds. Interesting. No penalty. Throw in centre wing. Bulldogs 6-8, North Melbourne 6-3. Well disguised, I'd say.
It's interesting. I agree with that, Pete. Just well disguised. I don't think Allison ran far enough to warrant a free kick for deliberate out of bounds.
Well, the 2 number 14s do battle. Darcy much taller than Anderson, and then cannons into Stevens, for which there will also be no penalty as the umpire blows time on.
There's been 12 goals kicked in this game so far, Peter, and not one in the field of play. We've had 11 from marks and 1 from a free kick.
That's an interesting stat. Collingwood had a couple of goes early. He's usually a good kick on the run. Couldn't convert those. He opened with 2 behinds. Pickett. Garlick. Neither can get an effective disposal. Stevens likewise. Now can the Roos set something up? Shannon Grant kicks the half forward. Archer off the ground. Just misses. Missed by about 1/3 of a metre. So the difference up to 4 points. Glenn Archer proving a little bit of a handful early in the second quarter.
Must be one of the new skills in AFL football where we've seen a lot of players in recent weeks, haven't we?
I'll tell you what, Jared Malloy's was a fantastic effort. Well, the Bulldogs get the ball out towards half-back, but by gee, the numbers are there, aren't they, for the Kangaroos? Well gathered here by Anderson. Gets back onto his right boot. The torpedo spiralling punt kick towards goal. Bounces through for a behind.
And good disciplined play that time by Winston Abraham, who can jump, but caught 3 deep, elected to go for a strong punch. They just could have handled the ball a bit cleanly at ground level, then they may have done a bit better, North Melbourne.
Good interception by Shannon Grant to force a boundary throw in. Bulldogs lead by 3 points. 44 plays 41. The leading goal kicker on the ground is the North Melbourne captain, Wayne Carey, who's kicked 3. Darcy certainly getting his hand first to the ball at the boundary throw-ins and around the middle. Martin, that's Michael Martin for Footscray. His kick close to the wing. Scott, gang tackle. Second in line was Collingwood. Garlick, back to Martin. Martin for the Bulldogs. Kicks across his left shoulder. And the clean mark taken by Grant. Just got rid of his opponent. Enough space for him to take the mark. He's too far out to score. Now he plays on. Kicks across the half-forward line. Southern to proceed. Oh, top effort by Nathan Brown. Puts himself in front where he certainly was going to be confronted. McCartney to try and crash through. So was King. He's confronted. And the ball will be bounced about 30 metres from the Bulldog goal. And a bit of excitement for all the fans just in the last few seconds. Certainly North Melbourne's latter part of the second term and early in this third quarter have shown that they mean business, and if the Bulldogs are to win this game, that's going to be a dour struggle right to the final siren. Grant doing the ruck work up against Martin. Collingham gathered by Scott. Was he over the line? No, he kicks back to the wing. Scotty West keeps his eye on the footy. Then he's got no one really to hand pass to. So to the advantage of Wirra, little tap by the left was deft play there. Martin shrugs the tackle, gets it out wide again. Wirra, who probably can be credited for this clearance in the finish. He's kicked towards centre-half forward. It covers the players in that area. Taken by Abraham. The handball over the top. Looks for Pickett. Turns on a 3-cent or 2-cent or 1 cent or whatever cent piece it was. And then kicks high back into the middle of the ground. It's knocked away. Gathered by Darcy. Very smart play by Luke Darcy. Rather ordinary floating punt kick. Well gathered by Smith. Hooks the kick, very well done, back towards half forward, but chipping in and taking the mark is Harvey for the Kangaroos.
Harvey, short of centre-half back. Oh, over the head of McKernan, terrible kick. Darcy, onto Martin. Looking for someone to give it to. Goes long, Grant the sit. Martin. Montgomery has to beat two. Kicks! Oh, no, Tommy's kicked that! One behind. That would have been a miraculous goal.
Well, one can only assume that Corey McKernan got a call, which just gave him the idea that he had to let that ball go, but it could have been very, very costly.
Kick out. McKernan.
Oh, you're joking.
We're all flabbergasted. Archer again.
That could be costly too, because that looked like it was a clean mark for me, Johnny Russell.
Yeah, Luke Darcy certainly seemed to have control of the footy, so I really can't explain why that wouldn't have been paid.
It looked as if the body contact was what actually knocked it out of his hands, which means it's okay. Yeah,
if he takes a firm grab before that spoil, then yes, the mark should be paid.
At long last, we get our wish. The captain comes on. Scotty Wines. Best and fairest and Brownlow medalist in 92. Glenn Archer's had a great quarter so far. He's kicked 1-1 and a chance to put North Melbourne in front if he can kick accurately from just over 50 metres. Looks good. Sailing to the right just at the last minute and one behind. So 1-2 to Glenn Archer in the third quarter. And the difference comes up to 3.69 to 6-6 at Optus Oval with 14 minutes left in the quarter. Leon Cameron, as he so often does, to bring the ball back into play. Kicks to himself. Johnson provides a shepherd. Wine gets into the action early. Shannon Grant goes off the ground, out of bounds, not on the full, just inside the line, throw in right half forward.
Now that one very different, Pete, in that the mark certainly wasn't grabbed, and who was it? It was Scotty Wine, wasn't it?
Yep.
Clearly juggling the mark, at no stage did he control it, so certainly a different situation to the previous one.
Absolutely.
Well, now Wine doing the ruck work up against Corey McKernan. His kick across the body, well marked by Ellis. Ellis, if his kick is out in front, which it is, well directed by Ellis to set it up for Brown on this near side wing, and fumbles the ball. He should get, no, he's not going to get a free kick, so Anderson's played that pretty well.
And he did play it well too, because after he made the tackle, he just hung on to him long enough just so he could get to his feet without hanging on too long to give away the free kick. It was a very clever tackle.
Very well spotted, KB. Just hung on long enough without giving away the kick.
Boundary throw in. Stevens and West, the physical struggle there. Ball spills for Allison. Grant from 50 metres goes for goal and kicks it behind. Shannon Grant's first score, that behind.
We saw Wayne Carey going for the big fly from behind. Started the game off in magnificent form, kicking 3 goals in the first quarter, but since then Croft has held him to just 6 possessions.
Dent to himself and then out wide. Good mark taken by Martin. Number 38 for North Melbourne is Danny Stevens, who's been on the bench for most of the game. Kick into the centre of the ground, taken by Ellis. I think he's been an important part of the Bulldogs lineup today, and his kick is on the chest of Brown. Brown can go short laterally. No, not now he can't. It was Danny Southern, but obviously Nathan Brown fancies his chances to get the distance from here.
I think he will, but sometimes his kicking, as I said earlier, Robbo, lets him down a little bit.
quickly Stevens off the ground. That's Danny Stevens as Brown pops it up in the front of the goals. Gathered by Southern. Hand pass back. Grant and Rowan Smith. Well done, Chris Grant. That is a magnificent goal. That is a goal of a leader. No doubt about that. He's kicked 3.
It's the goal of the day so far, isn't it?
Well, at one stage in the first quarter, after Wayne Carey booted 3 goals in that opening term, the thought went through our minds that maybe Chris Grant would have to go back and play on Wayne Carey because he looked to be in such dominating form. But he's chipped away himself. He's now kicked a goal in every quarter. He's booted 3 and is now looming as the key to the game.
Just as North Melbourne were threatening, the Bulldogs come up with the answer to again kick clear, leading by 8 points, 7-9 to 6-7. Wine, a little give, West to Brown on his wrong foot. Lands it inside 50, Pickett, didn't go for the mark. Garlick, can they get 2 in 30 seconds? He'll need to be accurate. He's not. And good defence down there by McCartney to get the ball out of the danger zone.
It was great chasing by Pickett, because Garlick was setting himself to kick a goal and to run on, but Pickett with terrific pace then, Robbo, really mowed him down.
Garlick maybe shouldn't have bounced, could have nearly gone without the bounce.
Always best to run your full 10 metres, no doubt about that. Yeah. A lot of players make that mistake, take a couple of steps and having a bounce, but Pickett, his chasing was superb.
Martin missed it, Bell. Fires it out. North out of danger momentarily. That came from Adam Simpson. Out on centre wing from Stevens. Bell again. Long looping hand pass over the top. Carey. 3 goals in the first quarter. Hasn't got one since. Punch away by Archer. Allison loves a goal. He's kicked plenty. Game number 203. He's missed everything. Out of bounds. Throw in right forward pocket for North Melbourne.
In fact, we should say, John, that in fact you can run 15 metres without bouncing the ball, which is the important thing to remember these days.
Yeah, the rule book says 10 metres, but the umpires are instructed to construe it as 15. Yep.
So Carey contests with Scotty Wine. Out of bounds again in front of Shannon Grant. Another throw in, about 1.5 metres further around from the behind post. Some 96-7.
Well, this could have been a planned move by Terry Wallace to bring on Scotty Wine just after half-time as a fresh big man, looking at the fact that with Hewitt and Carey and McKernan, that it'd be a pretty big ask for Darcy.
And Garlick just hustles the ball over the boundary line for another throw-in. He started on the bench. Former Sydney Swan. So a real chance for North Melbourne again. Carey with Wine. Wine front posse. Freddie after it was missed by Ramiro. Croft onto Dent. Dent does well. Johnson on the burst from right half-back, kicks up towards centre wing, and Martin, who's done well since he came on top.
I agree, yes, Peter, he's been very good. That kick, though, not all that good, but the North Melbourne defender coming out to mark on his chest, not able to do so was Blakey. Anthony Stevens to Bell, and Bell just forward of centre wing, sweeps around onto his right foot. And Scotty Wine playing it. Leads in the race, gives away a little bit of meterage, goes back to Wirra. Wirra assesses and then kicks to Darcy's was a mark earlier in the quarter.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I mean, in that case, Johnny Blakey took a clear grab of the ball before the spoil, so the mark was paid.
Well, the play on is signal. Montgomery looked for Ellis. Well done by Wine, getting back to help the defenders out across that half-back line. Cameron's kick will be marked by Southern.
Scotty Wine does that.
Sorry, Tim.
Just saying, Scotty Wine does that as good, if not better, than anyone else in the competition.
No
just
doubt.
putting his big frame in the right spot across the half-back line. He could be a very important player the remainder of this game, because he'll feed the ball off all the time, and the Bulldogs are very much a running side. A lot of players run from behind, run hard down the ground.
Denny Southern, he's been a defender, but boy, gee, he's been good across the half-forward line in the last few weeks. He had to stand up, I think it was against the Swans, when they were undermanned with Chris Grant not in the team. And since then, in the last few weeks, he's been excellent presenting himself across the half-forward line.
Robbo, it's a good point, but I think he should have moved the ball a lot quicker then, because Chris Grant was running down to an open goal square, and as you know, never turn your back on play. Get up and move the ball on as quick as possible. It might have cost him a goal. He had to kick the goal to pay for that.
Yeah, fair point, Russell. The kick in, Ellis over the top, and caught with the footy there, Harvey, by Ramiro. Umpire will bounce.
All your AFL information on screen on the AFL website. Robbo's going to go home and dial it up when he gets there. Wine. Ramiro. Smith. Oh, it's a terrible bounce. Blakey from Stevens. North Melbourne go long. Punch away by Croft. Effective. Allison, always dangerous near goals. Still inside the centre square. Tries to get it up to a teammate at half forward. Ramiro cannoned into by Archer. Great tackle. Simpson nearly coat hang at the umpire. Lets it go. No, he doesn't.
That tackle on Ramiro has to be a push in the back. If the bloke is running with the footy and gets absolutely... And Ramiro's really quite groggy. Anyway.
Simpson. Dent. Thought about giving it to West. Thought about giving it to Brown. He may still give it to Brown. He goes longer to Critical. Critical in the back pocket. Bulldogs under siege. Ramiro hobbling. Abraham takes advantage of that, but the ball beats him over the boundary line.
Pete, maybe we'll get another look at that tackle on Ramiro because he's still quite groggy. Now, here's the tackle. Now, if that's not a push in the back, I don't know what a push in the back is.
And actually, it probably affected his judgment then when he went for the ball, too. Hadn't quite recovered.
Ryan, couple of goes. Johnson across his body. Bad option. Mark taken by Simpson. Too far out to score. Centering kick, looking for McKernan, doesn't get the run that he wanted. Now he recovers and kicks the ball into Crediot. Croft from Ramiro, crashes his way through, bang! Over to Cameron, relieving kick, Martin and Harvey. Martin, oh, he's got great speed, this youngster. Martin's kick up towards centre wing, and it is out of bounds, but not on the full. No, it is on the full.
Well, it's not one of the great games in terms of skill, but it's a terrific game in terms of being a contest. And the chasing and the tackling has been, and the pressure has been superb.
Grant, Smith tried to knock it on. West, not much there for him. Shannon Grant tries to get clear, will do so. Kick smothered, good knock on by Smith.
Fantastic footy by the Bulldogs. Now they may have given the free kick away. No, the Kangaroos go forward again. Wine drops the mark. McKernan, how do they move that on? Illegally. The umpire beautifully positioned at deep point, if there's such a terminology when you're playing Aussie rules.
A bit backward, actually, Robbo.
It was a terrific point. Yes, he put himself in the great posse. The kick to half forward. Southern again. Danny Southern, he's too far out to score. Sweeps around onto the right and then kicks to the danger zone. That's a push in the back, isn't it? Yes. Careful, Luke. If you have another look at it.
I'd give him the footy, Luke, because that one was about as clear as they get.
Yeah, Wednesday night, when you see the tape, you'll accept that. Kick goes back to the centre of the ground. Bullies have the player at the full of the ball, Ramiro. He's recovered well from that tackle by Archer that was heavily discussed. Then the kick in towards the centre half-forward position. Darcy drops it, and then with his right boot, kicks towards goal and misses.
Robbo, another big problem for the Bulldogs. Craig Ellis has just limped off with a crook ankle.
Gee,
and I don't think Rowan Smith's fit either, because he was outrun by John Blakey before, and he just looked out of sorts, mate.
This is a bad blow, I think, for the Bulldogs. Craig Ellis. 10 points, the Bulldogs lead, 53 to 43, and obviously the people on the bench there waving away the Channel 7 camera.
Well, they've got Scotty Wine back at the moment playing on McKernan.
Gee, a couple of soft marks.
That was certainly paid as a mark because the umpire didn't give a signal for a free kick, so that would indicate a mark was paid.
Well, they're a chance here. They should get a goal here. The Crummer, beautifully taken by Harvey. Shot for goal. It's a goal to North Melbourne.
Well, he's a very good goal kicker, Brent Harvey. Spent most of the game on the interchange bench, but that's the role he plays. Comes onto the ground, picks up crumbs and finishes them off. So a very handy goal because we've had a very torrid passage of play in this third term.
That's the mark that was paid, KB. I suspect, well, it couldn't be because the wrong player's taken it if it was a mark. I have no idea what happened there.
Brent Harvey gets North Melbourne to within a kick late in the third quarter. Injury problems for the Bulldogs. West through heavy traffic. Did well to get an effective kick. Looking for Southern, who's appealing for a free kick. Tries to knock it to the advantage of the side. King's there in front of Southern. Martin sees it over the line. Throw in 35 metres from goal. Bulldog fans not happy at the moment.
Pete, while the ball's being thrown in, I don't want to sound too critical, but it just seems to me as though after the criticism last week, the umpires have almost put their whistles in their pockets in these tackling situations, and the game still has to be umpired.
Fair comment. Ramiro tried to crunch an opponent. Brown, snapshot, won't be a score. North with numbers, Montgomery! Great mark!
Well, we mentioned earlier, Pete, didn't we, that for a medium-sized player, he's very, very strong overhead.
Took a beauty at Sydney, took a ripper today, but a very difficult angle. He's just bought a couple of metres. That's what he's got to shoot at. We'll get a perfect shot of this.
He's just got to kick the goal.
Garlick's coming off for the Bulldogs and Rowan Smith coming onto the field.
He runs out to the left. Oh, terrible kick. What did he do there?
I would have thought there was enough goal space to really just go straight at the goals there.
Yep.
Plenty of goal space there because he actually cribbed a little bit, which was good play.
He was betwixt and between, wasn't he?
But I mean, I think there would have been, from where we are here, there would have been enough goal space not to try anything fancy.
David King brings it to this side of the ground. Anthony Stevens, best and fairest winner last year at Arden Street. Stevens kick towards centre wing. A marking contest. Carey makes it no contest in front of Croft.
Croft must wonder how the dickens he marked that. He did everything to try and just chip in.
Good mark to McCartney over Johnson. McCartney right next to the centre circle. Archer makes a lead. He's been good in the third quarter, given them a target. Big bomb. Down to within 15 metres of goal. Abraham takes a beauty. And the goal here will put North Melbourne in front by a point, close to three-quarter time.
He's had very little impact on the game, Winston Abraham. But, of course, he's a mercurial player, known as the excitement machine. And he can do things that can bring the crowd to its feet.
Well, no one really went with him there, Kev, did they? No one going with him on that mark. It was almost uncontested.
I think almost everybody was preoccupied with the big guys rather than a little Abraham.
He'll jump over the top of him anyway.
Abraham, 35 metres out, directly in front. Crowd likes it. North in front.
Abraham's one of those players, sometimes may not win a lot of the ball, but you've got to always, I think, lead players of his ilk on the field all the time, because they might kick you 2 or 3 goals, but you're not quite certain when they're going to kick them for you. They could kick them in 10 minutes, or they could kick them in the last quarter or the first quarter. So he's that sort of player that's still capable of kicking 3 or 4 goals in a game, even halfway through the third quarter.
So North Melbourne hit the front in the latter part of this third quarter. It's just a point, the margin. The kick towards half forward for the Bulldogs. It could be gathered. It is by Martin. That's Michael Martin. His kick to the goal front. Southern at the back. That awkward bouncing ball. Ramiro. Montgomery. Has he made amends? No. His earlier shot was, he made a meal of it, but not able to convert there, Brett Montgomery. He's kicked it behind to level the scores, though. His personal tally, 1 goal, 3. David King to bring the ball back into play for North. 7-13 to 8-7. Well, a couple of those 13 behinds could have been goals, so not all of them have been rush behinds. Ramiro chopped off there by Scott. Back to Grant. Grant. Well, bouncing the ball when you tackle. Croft.
The tackle with the stick, right?
Fair enough. Now, they may come clear the bullies here through Crediuk. Crediuk across the half-back line. Grant, beautiful gather. Can he get past? Hand pass is, well, just average. North to swoop on it. Dent, doing a pretty good job is Dent. Crediuk, back towards the wing. Oh! very, very bad mix-up there between Croft and Ramiro. Kicking it forward is Scott. Nearly marked by Archer. Allison. Back goes Dent again. He's been reliable. West out towards the wing, and a good mark taken by Johnson. Whenever he gets the ball, the Bulldogs look dangerous. Scotty West, right foot kick by that player, is marked, not paid. Montgomery it is. He had 2 grabs at it, and a little late maybe with the whistle, but he's kicking towards centre-half forward. Rowan Smith, set it up, go for goal, Rowan Smith. You haven't had many touches, but that's a great goal.
He's had a very poor day so far, Rowan Smith. He's been on and off the interchange bench. He may be injured. Russell Morris might be able to tell us if he's actually received any treatment whilst he's been on the bench a few times. But we know that he's a finisher. He's super quick. And even though he got around here, he still didn't look to be as quick as I've seen him in the past. But he finished it off with a good kick, and that'd be great for his confidence. Great team lifting one for the Bulldogs.
Rowan Smith gets his first goal, just over 2 minutes left in the third quarter. The difference back to a goal. McCurden against Wind, won by the latter, onto Brown. After standing start to half forward, marked by Johnny Blakey, the veteran. A raffle. Martin or King could have taken it. Mick nearly made a move over the 2 Martins. Michael Martin and Michael Martin collide. Allison gives it back to Bell. He is brilliant. Great use of the body, Wayne Carey. A chance for goal number 4. All of his goals, 3 of them, came in the first quarter. He hasn't got one since.
It's only been in the last 10 minutes that all of a sudden he's found that form he had in the first quarter. Croft had done very well since he kicked 3 goals on him early in that first quarter. But this is a worrying sign for the Bulldogs if Carey starts to find some touch.
He's leveled the scores again.
His last week against Adelaide, he was just quite sensational the last quarter. He's a big game player, Carey. He's a great leader. And as we get down to the wire in this game, there's one thing you can be pretty sure of is that he is going to be a very good player when it gets tough. He's terrific in the clinches, and he keeps coming up with the big marks and the big goals. That's why he's a great player.
A powerful person, isn't he? And presents himself week in, week out for his beloved Kangaroos. So it's pretty well nip and tuck here at the Optus Oval in the battle between second-placed Western Bulldogs and 6th-place Kangaroos. And just through a little interception there, the Kangaroos have got the ball again inside their forward 50. Rock's kick bounces and goes over.
Robbo, just a quick word on Rowan Smith. There was no evidence that he has been worked on from an injury point of view, but Craig Ellis, on the other hand, they're working feverishly on his ankle and maybe restrapping it to hopefully try and get him back on and get that drive out of that half-back line for the Bullies.
Well, he's testing it out at the moment, just jogging around the boundary line, still limping, but at least he's on his feet.
And if you're going to squeeze a goal, here's a chance now for North to squeeze one. Anthony Stevens has got it. Kangaroos are in front.
Altercation again here. This erupted also at half-time, and you can see players a bit hot under the collar. This is where you've got to be careful because you don't want to go missing games in this season. It's too tough at the top to have your best players not out there on the field. Maybe a bit of bravado, as long as you keep your hands down, John.
Yeah, well, as you say, there aren't many thrown now, are there, KB? There's a lot of jumper grabbing and pushing and shoving, but not too many players are foolish enough to really let one go.
Last minute of the third quarter, North Melbourne leading by 6 points. The Bullies need a goal desperately. Rock, Ramiro, West, Grant. Well, you'd like him to have a shot. Colin missed it. Bell didn't. King. Good run out of defence by the former Port player. Plenty of distance with the kick. Harvey, he'll take it out of bounds, knowing the three-quarter time siren isn't too far away. Throw it under the scoreboard. on the southern side of the ground, which shows the Bulldogs trailing by 6 points, 8-13 to 10-7. McCurtain and Wine to contest the throw-in. Wind again. He's done well since he came on early in this quarter. Grant pinned. West likewise. Oh, Pickett went in solidly. And the ball up. Well, a couple of incidents today. One just on half-time and one during this quarter, only a couple of minutes back. Maybe we'll hear more about them during the week.
See, Ramiro and Grant, both of them have had big games, and also Scotty West climbing up from the bottom of the pack has had another big afternoon. He's already had 26 possessions. Jose Ramiro has had 27, and Grant on screen, who's doing some pushing and shoving, has had 19. So they've been big ball winners as the siren sounds to end a very interesting quarter, Peter.
Yes, very interesting quarter. Let's watch the respective teams as they go to the huddle, remembering what happened at three-quarter time. But the umpires have stepped in here very quickly to make sure that there's no repeat of that. Here are a couple of the protagonists, and still they're going at it. Ramiro and Archer. Oh.
That's a bit silly.
It's stupid.
It's silly because there's no point in running a risk of getting yourself reported or creating a mally or someone wanting to have an investigation, because the siren has sounded. The main thing is to get on with the game and play to the best of your ability.
I wonder if they ever gave a handball to one another when they were teammates.
Probably live with one another and shared a house or something like that. You generally find that. Maybe Jose or Glenn Archer didn't pay the rent one week.
Maybe he cooked the eggs too hard.
Well, both sides are certainly fired up. The crowd's fired up, and we know you are at home. It's going to be a great final quarter. Western Bulldogs trailed by 9 points at quarter time. They led by 11 points at half-time. And at the final change, it's North Melbourne holding sway here at Optus Oval. We'll take a break. The final quarter is going to be a ripper. Don't go away. Archer and Crediok still at it as the ball is about to be bounced to start the final term. North Melbourne leading by 6 points. McCurtain, big lead. Intercepting is Johnson. Abraham nearly collected him on the way through. Martin tries a punch away. His namesake has got it. Can't get clear of Bell. He rides him into the ground. It's going to be a ball up still inside 50 in the first few seconds of play in the last quarter.
Tell you what, Brad Johnson was lucky, got rid of the ball quickly at that centre bounce. Archer had him lined up from the edge of the square.
Like it wasn't Jose.
Exactly.
McCurtain and Wine. Again, won by McCurtain. Chance for Pickett. Croft, Carey, a wrestle. Crediok and Archer. They go at it again. Dent missed it. Stevens. Chance for the Roos. Ball bombed forward by Simpson. Missed by Wirra. Critical stage of the match here. If North can pinch a goal, Allison pinches the footy but can't get clear. 35 metres out from goal. It's going to be a ball up.
Peter, obviously Craig Ellis hasn't come up. He's still on the bench with that crook ankle, so not good news for the doggies in that area.
I'm surprised too Paul Hudson's still down there as well. He is a goal kicker. Hasn't been on the ground for a while. McCurtain, Wine. Underneath it is Grant. Kicked away by Rowan Smith. Bell will get there first. Martin can't effect a tackle. Blakey looking for someone well inside 50. Carey's the target. Huge pack of players. None can bring it down. Carey comes over the football. Long hair pass. Chance for Stevens to kick another one. Onto the left. He goes goalwards. And was it touched? I think so. A rush behind.
Well, if you keep presenting yourself right in front of the opposition goals, you'd think you'd have to get some conversion, successful conversion out of it. And North Melbourne have been on the attack early in this last quarter. Johnson takes the kick in. The boozer for Jose Ramiro. He's been a very good player. And I think the Western Bulldogs supporters would be pretty happy with his performance. Montgomery's kick, two centre-half forward, gathered by Pickett. Rode that pack of two players quite nicely. Pickett's kick will land at centre-half forward. Crediok a big punch. Scotty Wind gives away a little bit of ground there with his little kick off the ground. Archer tries to force it forward. Succeeds. Abraham goes in. Winston Abraham. Goal to North Melbourne.
Well, full marks there to Glenn Archer. Just brought that ball forward with force and strength. continue through. We'll see here, he had the ball thumped away from him. He follows up here. This is where Leon Cameron just can't handle the ball. Kept kicking the ball off the ground, kept forcing it forward. And great hands by Winston Abraham then to pick the ball up with that one grab. Good finisher. Hudson back on the ground as well.
Well, all the intimidation just before three-quarter time, at the three-quarter time break by Glenn Archer, has squeezed another goal for the Kangaroos. McKernan to kick the ball away. Stevens forward. It's at centre-half forward proper. Carey and Croft. Still Carey. He's got the ball. Gives it up. West down the ground. The Bullies need a goal quickly. West, the right foot kick towards centre-half forward. Gathered by Southern. Get it off Danny. He does. And he gets it away to Hudson. Hudson's kick to the goal front, been marked by Montgomery. Curley it was that kicked it in. And Brett Montgomery indicating there, well, I don't think the angle's going to be all that difficult. He's kicked one. Very important that the Bulldogs answer that goal from Winston Abraham as quickly as possible, and it looks as though they're going to get one here. The margin is 13 points in favour of North Melbourne. Montgomery kicks his second goal.
Yeah, it's so important, Robbo, to get that quick reply, forcing the ball forward. And we mentioned he's kicked 2 goals, 3 Montgomery. He certainly is a handy, medium-sized player on the forward line. Scotty West has been a tremendous player, along with Jose Ramiro, who is down on the ground, but he's up on his feet now. They keep feeding the ball back. And Montgomery just reading that very, very well, setting up that goal.
Brett Montgomery keeping the Bulldogs within striking distance. 67 plays 74. But North Melbourne has been the superior team after half-time. Bell to Stevens. On the left, Crediok and Archer, the two protagonists. Michael Martin started on the bench. He's been good. Over the head of Stevens. Kicks towards half-forward. On a leader's Grant. Marks in front of Martin, but too far out to score. Ramiro calls for him. He's too short, a little bit too short for Grant. He wants somebody further down inside 50. The eyes have it. Goes to Hudson. And I'm surprised, KB, he spent so much time on the bench. Look, he seemed to be benched after he dropped a mark in that second quarter. And there's Montgomery again, who is causing North Melbourne all sorts of problems. But he is a goal kicker, Paul Hudson. So I think it's a good move to bring him back on. He's a bit like Winston Abraham, who hardly touched the ball for a couple of quarters, but has now got 2 goals next to his name. And Paul Hudson is that sort of player as well, who can kick you a quick goal. Long way out from goal.
KB, David King streaming out to Corey McKernan, then to come down from centre-half forward to stand on the goal line and at least contest it if it may, in fact, drop short.
Well, that's good play.
It's a northerly breeze, so basically he's kicking into it a little bit. It's going to be close. Hit the post. One behind.
Now, it's smart play to always have someone tall on the goal line, because a number of balls that just make it to the line, it's good to have a bit of height there.
Again, a goal the difference. 9-14 to 11-8. King bombs it long. Simpson couldn't complete the mark. Ball shuffled out to Bell. May have been taken high. Stevens gets the hard ball, as he so often does. And he'll be content with that result. It's out of bounds on centre wing. Aidan Kennedy says throw it in.
It's an interesting situation, isn't it? North Melbourne lead by 6 points. Archer's a very good defender, but they've got him across the half-forward line. You rob Peter to pay Paul. He's going to be a goal kicker up there, but you certainly need him to present himself across the half-back line as well.
Well, he kicked a couple of goals, didn't he? And he kicked goal in that third quarter, but he's been responsible for a couple of other goals, particularly one in this last quarter, just with strength.
So we leave him on the forward line, Kevin, eh?
At the moment, try and win the game.
Okay, the ball in towards centre-half back. Bell, little hand pass. Grant running in support. One bounce, has a look over his shoulder, ran the required distance, certainly. Kicked to half-forward, knocked away from Carey by Croft. Over the top was Abraham. Gathers back onto his left foot. In towards the centre-half forward position. The Bulldogs playing the percentages. Dent to assist. Out wide. Good contest here between Martin and Blakey. Still Martin and Blakey. And off Mickey Martin's knee, maybe. He's appealing for the free kick. Blakey on the full, but boundary umpire, good decision, will throw it in.
You might find, Robbo, that if North Melbourne found itself behind or the game up for grabs, we might see Archie go back then into defence, and Scholes in defence at the moment might go up forward.
Pickett. Ball socket off the ground again, out of bounds once more, same place, throw in. Still a goal the difference. Plenty of time left for either side to sew this match up. Under 15 minutes. McKernan, Wine. The Brownlow medalist tries to get it out to West. Both best and fairest winners. And McKernan bent down a la Wren last week, similar. Brown off his wrong foot. Oh, Martin has given away a free. I don't think you'd argue with that one, Jack Russell.
No, I don't think there was much doubt in that one at all, Paul.
Hudson, well, he's been great since he came back on, and again, I'm surprised he spent so long on the bench.
That's what he does very well. I mean, he quickly got inside 50. In full marks that Chris Grant got back quickly with the ball as well and saw him. But Hudson, that's what he's very good at. He can centre goal.
Well, he's had 5 possessions since he came back on. 40 metres out, 60-degree angle. He's got it. The Bullies are back.
Well, he's kicked 2 goals now, Paul Hudson. One in the second quarter, and that important goal now to level the scores. I like Paul Hudson as a player. I know he's been maligned a little bit over his career.
So do I.
But he's the sort of player who, and I mentioned before, like Winston Abraham, you leave them on the field, you're not quite certain when they're going to kick their goals. But they do kick them.
Well, he does. I mean, against the Swans, he got them back into the game, and he might even be the reason today.
Which way will it go? The biggest margin of the day has been just 16 points to the Bulldogs at the 21-minute mark of the second quarter. The bounce again, 13 and a half minutes to go in the match. Wine puts the Bulldogs into attack.
But I tell you what, you keep asking questions about why Scotty Wine was on the bench, but by golly, when he gets on the ground, he has an impact. They've got the ball into the right forward pocket. Tackle there by King on Darcy was okay, and the umpire will bounce. Scotty Wine, jumping early, has been very effective. Both players going for the centre bounce, hitting the ground without touching the ball, but Scotty Wine judging it better and getting the effective clearances away for the Bulldogs. John Blakey from the half-back area, kicks it long, over the wing. Good touch there, important by Croft. Crediuk, back to Dent. Dent across his left shoulder. It may bounce. No, it doesn't. It's well marked back there by Anderson. Anderson between left half-back and left centre wing. Short pass is all right. Mark is taken there by Hewitt. Hewitt on centre wing. Will kick the Kangaroos into their forward 50. Great leap and mark, not paid by Curley. This is Welsh. Welsh for North Melbourne. Runs the required distance and then misses to the right.
Well, that's a bad miss. He did stumble a little bit just getting around his opponent, and maybe that just took his balance away. But really, that goal should have been nailed.
Might be an important point. Leon Cameron. Hey, did you tip a draw in this match, Kate?
I did. I tipped it to be a draw. Sandy Roberts laughed at me, but I said I think this will end in a draw.
You might be right.
It's been the first time. First time I would have tipped a draw, let me tell you.
West. Great on baller. Shots for the boys here. Hudson again. Long kick. Yes, Sharibo! It's a goal! Well, has he made a difference since he's come back on?
Let the coach the team and we'll be the commentators, because obviously whatever it was a secret recipe.
Well, we've said this about Paul Hudson. In fact, he's just an innate goal kicker. He's a finisher. And he's just come on the ground. He's booted 2 goals, 3 for the game. You see, he's a happy man. The game's not over yet, but he's playing a very important role.
Well, we questioned about Scotty Wine. We questioned about Paul Hudson spending time on the bench. They've both had an impact, and they're both on the ground at the moment. And Wine gets it down to Ramiro. Ramiro to half forward. Good mark. Excellent mark taken by Grant. Handball away to King. King, who loves to carry the ball. Short kick into the middle. Bell caught. got the hand pass away. Anderson for North Melbourne, kicks directly towards goal. Big punch by Dent. Ellison not quite able to control the footy. Welsh gets it out to Scholl. Scholl across his left shoulder, and it hit the post. By gee, that was closer than I think it might have been Todd Curley back there, was it? I think he thought that it was going to go through for a behind, and the swinging ball came back, but not quite far enough. Matthew Croft it was back there on the goal line. Bulldogs lead by 4 points, 11-14 to 11-10. Leon Cameron. It's moments like this now where the pressure mounts and it's on the player kicking in from behinds. He takes no risks, he goes long, and the mark is taken by Darcy.
Luke Darcy, no doubt about that, Mark. Same spot, very controversial one earlier in the match that he wasn't allowed. Johnson, the Bulldogs can set something up here. Away goes Dent. Long to half forward, Hudson nearly. Montgomery will get back. No, he won't. The ball softened clear of him. And McCartney ridden it around. Great tackle by Collingwood. Grant making a lead. A little bit early for Collingwood. That point's the way he wants it.
Gee, you couldn't possibly think you're going to be clear there, could you?
Darcy into space. Very casually goes back.
Just on that one, I don't think Collingwood's tackle propelled McCartney forward anywhere like the Romero one, so I think that was reasonable.
He was buried just about, wasn't he, by Glenn Archer? Now, what sort of a kick is Luke Darcy? We'll know soon enough. The difference is 4 points in favour of the Western Bulldogs. 80 plays 76. The biggest margin of the day has been 16 points to the Bulldogs in the second quarter. They have a chance now to lead by 10 if he can convert this. We're not at the halfway mark of the last quarter yet. Up and under. Has it got the carry? It has. It's a goal.
Somebody's let the dogs out of the kennel, Pete.
Very well done then. That was a good kick by Luke Darcy, 50 metres out.
It was, and look, he's had big raps on him for a long time. That's a great chase and tackle, no doubt. Good play by Collingwood, and then for that to be finished off. The Bulldogs have kicked the last 4 goals of the game, so they're showing plenty of spirit.
So the Bullies open up a bit of a margin, 10 points. It's certainly not match winning because there's over 10 minutes left. And there's going to be a free kick out of this.
Against Darcy.
Against Darcy, an infringement right in front of the umpire. The umpire was going to bounce the ball.
Yeah, that's right.
But it's with Anderson. Anderson for the Kangaroos to centre-half forward. Good mark taken by Croft.
You've got to admire the Bulldogs' defence. They always look undermanned in size.
And that boy there stood up manfully too.
Yeah, the Carey, McKernan, Hewitt. But, they do a good job, Pretty looking from.
Rowan Smith down the line. Johnson, they're starting to run. And they're going to cause North Melbourne some anxiety in the last few minutes. Darcy, oh, look at that for confidence. Bouncing around his opponent, McCartney. Kicks to the goal square. Where are the Crummers? It's still a chance. It's a hot ball right in front of the Bulldogs' goal. They lead by 10 points. The umpire will bounce.
Yes, they needed the Crummers there, Robbo. There wasn't anybody around. 10 points the margin. Western Bulldogs attacking zone, 15 metres out from goal. North will try to crowd it up. Archer. Socket off the ground, picked up by Bell. Clear of Collingwood. Kicks to a contest. Cameron may get that back there first. Overruns it. Prodiuk gives him some assistance. Now Martin. Over the head of Blakey. Montgomery and Archer. Neither can take the mark. Mick Martin. Hudson, yes! In front of Shannon Grant.
That's the reason I asked the question about Archer. This guy's kicked 2 goals and he's effervescent now.
Grant should mark this and does. Well, I reckon Hudson's made the difference since he's come back on.
No doubt.
No, he's been a major factor on the forward line with his 2 goals and also some other part of his work. Archer's now back in defence because when you asked about it before, Robbo, they were in front by about 7 points.
Now, the momentum swung, hasn't it?
Well, they're putting back now, but he was actually he was actually picking up Montgomery a few moments ago, and not Paul Hudson.
Have you ever seen a player take a longer run back than Chris Grant? Now he's 40 metres away from the umpire. See where the umpire is? Now look where Grant is. He's well outside 50. That's the mark that the umpire's just indicated. So
I don't reckon that's such a bad thing. If you ever remember Peter Hudson, great goal kicker, used to go back a long way.
low trajectory kick. He's got it. To Chris Grant, and that equals the biggest margin of the day in this match, 16 points to the Western Bulldogs.
It's a good mark this time. He was taken from the field in the second quarter because he dropped an easy mark. So he's been fired up, Paul Hudson, since he's come back onto the field. Been a major player in this last term, and Chris Grant has kicked goals now in every quarter.
Well, a top performance by Chris Grant, 4 goals, 12 kicks. 7 marks, 3 hand passes. Bell tackled from behind by Martin, but got his kick away. Still across that half-forward line, Rowan Smith kicks it away. Todd Curley under a bit of pressure. Hand pass out into the path of Dent. Slick hands. Back to Crediuk. Crediuk, the little kick. No, not quite far enough. Anderson may kick a goal, Brady Anderson. Kicks towards goal. Just floats away to the left. Through for a behind. 2 behinds against his name, and Dennis Pagan, Tony Elshaw in the background. Stimmerol getting a good workout now. Cameron to kick it back in for the Bulldogs.
Leon Cameron, 15 points the margin. Marking contest across half-back, West. Ramiro spirals the punch by Archer. Gathered by King. McCartney. Well, McKernan should mark this and does. Too tall for Wirra. Now, a big kick in the context of this game. Corey McKernan. Mark will be pretty well right on the 50-metre line, so McKernan's ability and kicking ability should kick it. He's got it. North's still in this.
Well, they've got a happy knack of winning close games at North Melbourne. Generally because McKernan or Carey can take big grabs and kick long goals. And McKernan hasn't had a real impact on this game at all. He kicked a goal in the first quarter, but he's just been going today. But the sort of player who can kick you a goal like that to keep you in the game and to keep the confidence up.
Over 7 minutes remaining in the match.
Plenty of time, Pete.
Plenty of time, yes. 10 kicks to Corey McKernan, 2 goals to him. Looking a little bit dark here at Optus Oval, but this match is up for winning. Hewitt having a go in the ruck. Now the umpire's indicated a
signal.
free tick.
So Hewitt to take the kick for high contact in the ruck contest. We may get another look at it.
Yeah, what does that mean? I mean, if you do, what's he entitled to do, the ruckman?
The contact above the shoulder is permitted to be coincidental with the intention to contest the ruck.
I can't see any free kick there at all.
A great contest between 2 fierce competitors. What
it was is Scotty Wine's right hand actually makes contact to Hewitt in the neck that I saw in the replay then, and then the arm goes to take the footy. So it was sort of 2 actions, one to the neck, one for the ball.
Fair enough. You haven't won us, Jack.
No, I'm just explaining what's been paid. There certainly were 2 actions, Pete.
West to Ramiro, to Rowan Smith. We won't argue with the 4th umpire.
Argue all you like.
Great kick over 50 metres.
It was Brown, and Brown too far out to score, but he can put the Bulldogs deep into attack.
Just hang on to it, Nathan, and just wait a little while before you can get us something to set it up.
We want Luke Darcy to get down there for a start.
Well, he's kicked it to centre-half forward proper. And a push out. It's going the Bulldogs' way. Montgomery, is it?
Yep, Montgomery to take the kick, but I must admit from this position I couldn't see a push out on Montgomery, and I'd say that Glenn Archer couldn't either. And I must admit on replay I struggled for the second time.
Well, he's got the best advice on the ground there. Paul Hudson just chipping in to tell him what to do. I mean, I think Paul Hudson, percentage-wise, I'd love to see how many goals he kicks and behinds. You know, the ratio goals to behinds, I reckon it'd be well in advance in favour of the goals. But this is Montgomery with the football. 92 to 83, 9 points at the moment. Montgomery going for his 3rd goal, offline. So he's had a fair bit off the football across that forward line. 2 goals for.
Here we see it again, Robbo, in slow motion, and there we see, oh look, it's at the back of the pack. We really can't see the severity of the contact between Archer in that case.
Kick in, gathered by Grant. Over the top was Stewart. Croft shrugs the tackle. Nathan Brown. Handball. Hudson. Brown again, unselfishly, and Montgomery will get his 3rd goal now.
Terrific play by that young boy, Nathan Brown. He does look to have a tremendous amount of ability. A couple of times today he's probably made a few wrong decisions and his kicking might have let him down. But this is terrific play. I thought that might have been a bit high and riding him into the ground here. But good hands here by Croft to get it away now. Brown here, cool under pressure, sets it up. Hudson did very well. That was a quick handball. And, of course, he gives it off to an easy one to Montgomery. So the running play of Footscray, which they've constantly been at all day, is finally paying dividends for them late in this game.
Danny Southern back onto the ground. It's been a great contest. Still 6 minutes to go in the match. Bulldogs aren't home yet, and by the same token, North Melbourne aren't out of it. Umpire just directing McKernan back over the line. Goes at it with Wine, who wins it. Anderson kicks to half forward. Good punch away by Croft. That's been a good duel on Carey, who was on top early. Oh, careless. A silly free kick against Abraham. There was no need to do that. Sort of free kicks you don't need to give away at this stage of the match. At left half back, Croft takes the mark. Kicks to half forward. Target was Darcy. Johnson.
Out of bounds.
No, I was just going to say, cleverly keeps the ball in play, but the boundary umpire has decided that that wasn't the case, and he's going to come back and bounce it. 16 points. North needs 3 goals in 6 minutes, possible, but time on the wing certainly. What a game. McCartney, Darcy, Anderson, Bell. 15-metre hand pass to Rock. Gives it back to Blakey at half-back. North need a goal from this forward thrust. He goes long, kicks towards half-forward. No, Croft couldn't punch it away on that occasion. Cameron missed his man there. That was picked up down there by Welsh. This is Martin. That was Brown out of defence. Bulldogs looking all right now. They've got their tails up. Ramiro marks at centre wing.
Well, certainly an important turnover when Scott Welsh went forward. Ramiro now prepared to just waste precious seconds as far as the Kangaroos are concerned. They trail on the scoreboard by 16 points. That's a good mark, not paid. McCartney, I thought, had control of that.
I agree with you.
Pickett, Bell, and then Grant for the Kangaroos. Excellent mark taken by Curley across half-back. He's going to keep possession because he's transferring play to this near side of the ground. Ramiro, possession number 34 to Jose Ramiro against his old club, and he can be booed off the ground, but he wouldn't give a damn, because if they can win the money, he'll be as happy as the proverbial. Montgomery at left half back. Long kick by Montgomery. Lands the ball at centre half forward. Was that a push out? No.
Yes. Oh no, the mark has
been paid to Martin. So Mickey Martin for North Melbourne. Kicks towards half forward. And Montgomery again. Well, he's been good. He's kicked 3 goals, and now he's getting possessions across the half-back line for the Bulldogs. 16 points is their advantage with 3.5 minutes left.
And they know that the clock is ticking down. It's in their favour. Grant makes a lead, but they're chewing it up blatantly, you would suggest here. Real old-fashioned footy. Stop and prop. McKernan missed it. Martin didn't. Grant was taken out of the contest. Wobbly punt comes up towards centre field. Wirra didn't bounce too kindly for him, Brad Wirra. Montgomery provides the shepherd. Kicks up towards Rowan Smith. Missed it. Johnny Blakey straight down the spine of the ground. Croft, Cameron, Abraham and Dent over the top. Might be a free kick. No. Still Abraham. Can't get clear. Holding the footy.
The reason that free kick wasn't paid for pushing the back, Robbo, is that if the player causes or contributes to the contact from behind, he won't be rewarded.
Cameron takes the kick, gets it to Wine. Wine turn across half-back to Johnson. Bulldogs using the clock very effectively, finishing the better here at Optus Oval. Hudson again, 16 points is still the margin. Southern makes a lead, spent a little bit of time on the bench.
Good kick.
Yes, well-weighted kick to Chris Grant. He wastes no time. Into the goal square. Southern this time. Return, kick and goal. That's it. Thanks for coming. He's kicked 3. And those two there have been instrumental in what will be a Bulldogs win. Well, a couple of North players had their backs on Grant then, Kev. From Danny Southern.
Well, he's been a pretty important player, Danny Southern, but wonderful play there by Hudson. Again, this last quarter he's been quite exceptional. And that beautiful kick you mentioned before about his goal-kicking ability, Robbo, but that kick for Chris Grant and then onto Southern, that was terrific play by the Bulldogs. They've finished full of running.
Yeah, I'm happy with you, Kevin, because Paul Hudson, I think he's a very much a quality player. And let's hope we see him around for quite a while yet. But this is Croft, and I think congratulations should be handed out to that player as well. He was put under a lot of pressure early when Carey kicked 3 goals in the first quarter, but he stuck to his guns. Out wide to Cameron. Cameron in short. Johnson. He's just accumulated quite nicely. 20 now, and he's going to slip over and get himself. Oh, have a look at that. You don't mind. It's all going for the Bullies now. The kick by Johnson, marked by Martin, plays on, confronted by Hudson. Just shrugged the tackle. See you later, Paul Hudson, says Mickey Martin. And down the ground he goes. 1-on-1. No, it's not. It's 4-on-1. The Bullies would be certainties, wouldn't they? Rowan Smith, he must have got that out legally. Ramiro, wider still, kicked, hung the half volley by Dent for the safety of a boundary throw-in. And the Bulldogs will win this game. The battle between second on the ladder and 6th on the ladder. So an important 4 points for the Bulldogs over, well, one of their fellow contenders for finals places towards the end of this season. Montgomery takes from the centre, from the boundary throw-in, kicks to half forward. Hudson again. Doesn't bounce favourably for him. King to mop up. Goes wide, very, very wide. This ball may sit up. Might even stay in play. No, it doesn't. Frustratingly for Mickey Martin of the Bulldogs, it goes over in front of that player for a boundary throw-in.
Well, the Bulldogs have just outgunned North Melbourne, haven't they? At North Melbourne's own game, it's been a tight game up until the last 10 minutes with both sides. Their tackling and chasing and smothering has been terrific. Lacked a little bit in skill, but in fact the Bulldogs have just done a little bit better than North Melbourne in the end.
Martin to Hudson. Southern missed it. Covenant. Archer comes at him. Play on. It was touched. Southern. No one to give it to. Blakey's there. Goes for the boundary line. Covenant again. Stevens. Blakey. Kicked into Ramiro. Martin might get another chance. No, he won't. Ramiro. Martin again. Centering kick. Can they take a mark? Grant is there. So too. There's Johnson. And there's the siren. The Bulldogs have won it. Will they be on top? Percentage has to be calculated. This kick may be enough. He's going to have a shot. 25 metres out. Directly in front. Johnson after the siren. Kicks and he's goal. Bulldogs home. What a game of footy.
Tell you what, the public announcement system here at Optus has improved a bit, Kevin. Hey, when the team wins and they blast out their song, you can certainly, there's no doubting that it's the Western Bulldogs on this occasion.
They're a very good side, the Western Bulldogs, no doubt about that. North Melbourne, as we know, I suppose at the beginning of this season we thought they'd be just about favourites to win the premiership, along with the West Coast Eagles.
Let's go down to Russell on the boundary.
Thanks, Peter. I've got Matthew Croft. Congratulations, Crofty, on the game against Carey. How'd you feel about leading up to today?
Pretty nervous. You know, when you take these big guys on, you don't get much sleep the night before. But, you know, just had to hold steady. He had it on me in the first quarter. He's got right out of the gates pretty early. Just tried to stick with him, Clyde.
Mate, the first quarter, he looked as though he was going to start to chop you up. He kicked 3 quick goals, but then obviously Terry Wallace had confidence in you. Must have felt comfortable with that at least.
Yeah, he stuck with me. I had it in the back of my mind that I might have been going for a walk, but yeah, he had confidence in me, stuck with me, so just had to try and do the job for him best I could.
What a great feeling for the boys, you know, on top of the ladder with Sydney, beating North Melbourne, who are, you know, premiership contenders, very good for the club again.
No, exactly right. You know, North Melbourne have been the benchmark over the last couple of years, and we had an aim today to maybe, you know, put a bit of doubt on that in the league. That you know, maybe, you know, there's a couple of new contenders there, and the Bulldogs in Sydney maybe. So
Well, it looks like where you are, mate. Congratulations, enjoy yourself tonight.
thanks a lot, Flighter.
Matthew Crofty had the job on Wayne Carey. Carey got 4 goals, 3 in the first quarter, but Crofty fought back well, as did the Bulldogs. The final margin was 28 points, but it was nip and tuck for about 3 2/3 quarters, wasn't it?
Well, it really was a top game. I think it's a pity sometimes that, you know, we've got 22,000 people here, but that sort of contest, which is always going to be, you know, physical and like a bit of an arm wrestle. Eventually, the arm wrestle went in the Bulldogs' favour, but it's a pity we don't see more people watch games of football like that. Bulldogs come out victors today.